Welcome to our latest environmental documentary focusing on one of the most prominent changes happening in our world. In this video, how climate change is transforming the Himalayas, we will unravel the severe impacts of global warming on this majestic mountain range. From accelerating glacier melting to threats to biodiversity and local livelihoods, each change illustrates a stark reality we face. So join us as we delve into the effects of climate change on the Himalayas, a telling sign and urgent call for a global solution to our climate crisis. 1. Accelerating glacier melting. Himalayan glaciers are melting at a pace that has not been witnessed before in history. This alarming trend is primarily driven by rising global temperatures, which act like a giant hairdryer blowing directly onto the ice. According to scientific studies, nearly a third of the ice in this region has disappeared since 1975. That's like losing one chunk of ice for every 3 in less than a lifetime. This acceleration in glacier melting directly affects water resources, as billions of people depend on the rivers flowing from these glaciers. The diminishing ice mass poses an existential threat to the delicate balance of the region's ecosystems. 2. Threat to water resources. The Himalayas are often referred to as the third pole, due to their vast ice reserves, which feed some of the most significant rivers in Asia. Rivers like the Ganges, Indus, and Brahmaputra begin their journey in these mountains, supplying water to over 1.5 billion people. Imagine an enormous, life-giving faucet gradually turning off. As glaciers retreat, this is becoming a stark reality, threatening water security in South Asia. With each summer, as these ice giants shrink, anxiety grows among those who rely on the dependable flow of their waters. 3. Increased risk of glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. As the glaciers melt, they form unstable glacial lakes high in the mountains. These lakes, often precariously held back by fragile natural dams, can burst and unleash destructive floods downstream. Think of it like a bathtub overflowing when the plug fails. Climate change has escalated both the frequency and intensity of these glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. Communities living downstream live in constant fear, for the temporary calm could break at any moment, bringing devastation in its wake. 4. Impact on biodiversity. The Himalayas harbor a treasure trove of unique ecosystems and species, acting like a sprawling skyscraper of biodiversity. However, rising temperatures are nudging species to migrate to higher altitudes in search of cooler habitats. Snow leopards, red pandas, and countless other species find themselves in a frantic race uphill. This shift in habitat disrupts ecosystems and poses a dire threat to biodiversity, much like a domino effect, where the smallest push can start a cascade of changes across the entire region. 5. Shifts in monsoon patterns. Monsoon behavior is undergoing a dramatic shift due to climate change, sullying its once predictable nature. Picture monsoon rains behaving like an unreliable friend, sometimes showing up too late and other times too soon. The erratic rainfall patterns have significant repercussions for agriculture in the region, which has long depended on timely and ample monsoon rains. This unpredictability severely impacts the livelihoods of people who rely on agricultural yields, leaving them grappling with uncertainty and loss. 6. Impact on agriculture and livelihoods. Traditional farming practices are facing enormous challenges due to changes in temperature and precipitation. Farmers, who once predicted weather patterns with precision and expertise, now struggle as their crops face failure due to erratic weather. This shift reduces food security for millions, like turning an abundant harvest into a shell of its former self. As the livelihood of entire communities gets threatened, finding a feasible alternative seems like an overwhelming task, akin to growing food in barren lands. 7. Cultural and spiritual loss. The Himalayas are more than just a geographical wonder, bearing immense cultural and spiritual significance to myriad communities. These majestic landscapes house sacred sites and thousands-year-old traditions. Yet, the melting glaciers and progressively altering landscapes endanger these spiritual landmarks. Imagine sacred paths disappearing under cascading waters, a loss that's not just physical but deeply emotional for communities who hold these places in the sanctum of their beliefs. 8. Increased natural disasters. The rising temperatures in the Himalayas are precipitating an increase in natural disasters such as landslides, avalanches, and flash floods. In a sense, These acts of nature have become frequent and aggressive invaders compared to the past. Mountainsides, once deemed stable, are now prone to sudden collapse while valleys experience frequent washouts. These unexpected disasters put lives and infrastructure in jeopardy, casting a shadow of fragility over the region. Communities live in not only a real sense of peril but a state of underlying apprehension, acknowledging the fierce unpredictability they face.